Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 22nd episode of MOV Leaders, a podcast where we celebrate women leaders. This is Olympic season, and we know there are so many women who made us proud to celebrate for India. So, we will call out few of them. PV Sindhu, who won the bronze medal in Olympics singles badminton, as well as we have Laulina, who's been ranked 3 in the welterweight boxing, and we have Mirabai, who won silver in the weightlifting. Not only them, there are many women who represented our country and fought for the best of their ability. Congratulations, and we all are proud of you, girls. And you are the one who is motivating the younger generation to come and fight in the world. Thank you. Thank you once again. So, before jumping into the episode 22, I just wanted to introduce a very special guest who is going to entertain us throughout. And she is having a great journey. She is a self made leader, versatile leader who made herself a very proud woman leader today. And she is currently heading the business development for Cameo Services. And she is holding degree in economics, politics, and history in top ranked UK university. Also, she is a proud co-founder of Spark, a social enterprise impact organization. So, without any further delay, let's welcome Niranthara Jawahar to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Thank you, Niranthara. So, how are you feeling to be part of MOV Leaders?
It's such a great opportunity. First, I want to thank you for creating an organization and a platform that highlights women who have, been empowered and brought importance to female leadership. So thank you for doing this, and thank you so much for recognizing my efforts and giving me such a warm welcome. It's such a nice opportunity to be a part of this show.
The pleasure and proud is always mine, Narendra, because why I'm telling is I have seen, right from academics, you have picked up a journey where it looks like a very planned journey. And
Yeah.
you're, very strong women leader today. So I'm pretty curious to know your journey, and especially I wanted to know how young Niranthara was and how she made her way through, and how she planned, and how she landed herself as a successful women leader.
So I think the my journey has been largely defined by my parents encouraging my choice. So it was always about me living by my choice. I think that's something that has been super important to me and has made me think about every decision that I have made. So whether it was in school choosing my subjects, or in school choosing to play tennis to represent the school, or choosing my college degree, it was always my choice. So I think, when you come from a family who has been in business for so many years, the immediate decision is to always go on to study an MBA or a business degree in college. But my parents were, from the very beginning, very supportive of the fact that I study something that inspired me and motivated me to, stay on top of my academics, and something that, I was excited to wake up for every day and read about. So, I made a very clear choice. I think even when I was in the 10th grade, that the social sciences was going to be, something that I was passionate about, and it was always my favorite subject. So I made the decision not to study business as an undergrad, and I chose to study politics and history. Although it wasn't the obvious choice, it was what motivated me and made me excited about college. So I went on to study that. And, even after college, coming back and starting to work in investment banking, I think that was a more strategic choice, because working in investment banking was something that my father and I sat down and discussed, because not having a business background in college, I needed exposure to, balance sheets and P&Ls, and, how businesses work. So investment banking, opened that entire industry up for me, and it exposed me to so many different kinds of businesses, and introduced me to the strategy behind businesses. So I think working in investment banking and consulting was a very strategic decision that we made to ramp up my knowledge in business and in how to run a business, and see how a variety of businesses are run across different industries. So I would say it was definitely, I think, my earlier childhood was completely based on choice. My parents wanted to see me shine in what I wanted to shine. So that was very clear from day one, whether it was kindergarten or 12th standard or 12th grade. It was always about what I was passionate about. And then, once I had finished college, it became about strategic decisions that would make me a better leader today. So that's a little bit about uh, my journey until today.
Interesting, Niranthara, to know this, because we have interviewed many, as you rightly said, that lot from tech or the MBA background, someone from this background, and who chose the right career path and settled herself as a great leader and scaling herself is interesting to know. So
Yeah.
you have a huge and marathon journey. So I just wanted to know, according to you, what are these few characteristics every leader should possess?
So that's an interesting question. I can only speak from experience. So I've broken that down into five possible, characteristics that I think are important, especially as a woman. One is to be outspoken. I think more often than not, women are the minority in the boardroom and are the minority in any corporate environment for that matter. So it's very important to speak up for yourself and make sure that you are heard. A woman's perspective is very important, not just in terms of diversity, but because of the fact that we bring diversity, it's even more important for us to make ourselves heard and to speak up. The second, I would say, is to be goal oriented, to know what you want and work towards it. So, constantly set your goals and work towards those goals. It could be small goals or large goals, but without goals, you don't have direction. So, I think to be goal oriented is very important, and hardworking, of course. Take advantage of every single opportunity. Make sure you make the best of every opportunity that you have in your hands. And then the fourth one I would say is to be brave. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't be shy to have an opinion. I think, as women, we're always brought up from a very young age, like be polite, be quiet, like be obedient. All these things are things that boys are not necessarily brought up being told. So I think to be brave and speak out, and not be shy of your thoughts and beliefs is something that I truly believe in. And I think a part of me starting Spark, a social entrepreneurship platform as well, I think a huge part of that was me standing up for the opinions that I had. And I would say the fifth and most important one is to be inspired. So to surround yourself by people who make you better and who inspire you to be better. I think, especially on days where I'm not feeling motivated, when I'm around people who push me, make me better, I think I definitely am re-energized. So I think these are five characteristics that I would say, are important, or I felt were important in my life so far.
Interesting. So, one success mantra that you would call out to be a successful leader?
I would, if I had to choose one of those five particularly, I would say is to be outspoken, because whether we like it or not, today we are the minority, and so to stand up for your beliefs and to speak out for what we believe in a boardroom or in a corporate environment is extremely important. I think as soon as you start being outspoken, people begin to respect your opinion. People begin to respect you as a leader as well.
Very true. It's not only true for women, for every leader or every professional. They need
Yeah.
to speak up. They need to express their opinion. So that is
Yes.
very important. The percentage of outspoken people are minority, I would call, rather than
Yeah.
minority, because I'm time and again, whenever I mentor someone, the first thing I always advise them is to learn to express yourself,
Yes.
learn to respect yourself, your
Yeah.
feelings, and identify what makes you happy, and you need to communicate that for others to understand. Nobody is having time to introspect or retrospect or understand what you like or
Yes.
what you want. It is up to you to create an environment like where you can be successful purely by expressing yourself in a right manner.
Yes.
So that was very true, Niranthara, and it was useful suggestion also. Women who are upcoming, I'm sure they will take the steps
Yes.
forward. So you were mentioning about Spark when you were discussing this five characteristics someone has to
Yeah.
acquire. It's very interesting being suddenly becoming a co-founder of the Spark. How this whole thing started, and what is Spark all about?
So, Spark is an organization that was started by me along with a childhood friend of mine, Vishala. So, when my co founder Vishala and both of us were studying in the UK, we found countless forums where we could discuss women's issues. And that was something that we were both very passionate about. When we moved back to Chennai, we wanted to create a similar space to discuss women's empowerment. We believe that in India, in the Indian society, it has many unique cultural issues that cannot be addressed by Western feminism that we find on social media or the internet. So we launched initially an organization called Her Story, a
Mhm.
platform for empowering education and inclusive conversations, mainly focused on women's empowerment in March of 2019. Our speakers ranged from powerful industrialists to business neuroscientists. We addressed hundreds of men and women on topics like women in corporate leadership, financial independence for women, modern motherhood, and the changing role of Indian fathers. These were some of the topics that we focused on addressing. Then we decided that we wanted to broaden the scope beyond women's issues and discuss equality and other issues, equally impactful social issues such as the environment, mental health, the economy, and public policy. So we rebranded Her Story to Spark. Spark stands for Stories for Progress, Advocacy, Rights, and Knowledge. Um, we had a lot of exciting events planned for Spark, and we executed over 10 events, from discussions on how to eradicate poverty in India to tackling climate change. Yeah, so these are some of the issues that we addressed, and obviously we moved to an online platform once the pandemic started. But conversations that are meaningful and engaging are not often held on Zoom. It's hard for people to interact and engage and challenge each other on a virtual platform. So since the pandemic has started, we've decided to hold off until we can have live events again.
Interesting. It's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Sometimes I used to get a fear that everyone will, even once the pandemic is over, people will get so used to virtual events and or virtual interactions, and they will keep continuing. I used to fear, and
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of survey proves that physical interaction is required, and we need to get back to the normal. And there can be a hybrid, and it cannot be like completely virtual. And your thing, you're holding off for a right reason, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited and eager to either be a participant or a listener in your Spark in some time
Absolutely.
in the future,
Yeah.
Niranthara.
We'd love
And
to.
it's a very bold initiative, I should say,
Thank you.
and it's a very useful initiative too. Kudos to you and your friend.
Thank
Moving to my other question, right from starting as assistant in registry division of sales and development in an innovation product, to a head of business development today in Cameo Services, I am sure you would have worked under various leaders and you would have learned a lot. So I could see that when you said that five characteristics someone need to possess to be a leader, I can clearly see that amount of learning you have picked up from a lot of people whom you worked under or who mentored you. So
Yeah.
if I have to pick up one person in the whole journey who brought the best out of you, and still the lessons you learned from them is showing some light when you are in a dark situation, means who would be that and why?
Sure. So, I think through my journey, there've been numerous inspiring people around me, and it would be a shame not to highlight that I've learned so much from my colleagues. If not even my superiors, my colleagues themselves have taught me a lot and inspired me in many different ways. But if I had to mention one person, it would definitely have to be my father, who is my boss at the end of the day as well. Um, I work under his guidance, and he's the one who encourages me and pushes me the most. I think even in the earlier, discussion that we were having on my journey so far in my childhood, I think my parents have been very monumental in my development and growth. So, and I think it's also been super influential for me to have a supportive and empowering male figure in my life and now in my career as well. Someone who knows my capabilities and pushes me to do my best. It started as early as school, when my dad would do my homework with me and guide me in writing my essays and addressing thought provoking topics in history and social sciences. Um, but in this phase in my life, my father has been very influential in creating a sense of belonging for me within the company. So within Cameo, I think I would definitely have to highlight that my father has been, the guiding light. And also, to give perspective to this answer, daughters in India a lot of the time are not brought up with a sense of belonging in their own families. It's we bring you up and then you get married and go into a different family. That's the idea that a lot of women are brought up with. Even when women are empowered to start their own businesses, they're disadvantaged by patriarchal legacies that limit their access to land, property, family wealth when compared to their brothers. So while business ventures by sons are heavily funded and encouraged by families, those by daughters are usually considered hobbies to keep them busy. So looking around you, I'm sure you're able to pinpoint women from large, financially affluent families running small businesses with little guidance but so much passion. Last year alone, 5% of Indian women, with only 5% of Indian women took business loans because of the lack of money in their own names and lack of credit history to be able to secure loans. So, in my opinion, this is a cultural issue where women need to feel like they belong to families before they can feel like they belong anywhere else. To create. So, I think a large portion of my work has also been focused on creating a work environment where women feel like they belong. And a lot of the time, this starts at home. So, I believe that the empowerment of women is necessary in the workplace as it is in each household. And my father has been someone who has taken this concept very seriously and has really created a sense of belonging for me within the company.
Very rightly said, Niranthara, because all of us are addressing our culture need to be to make a
Yeah.
woman feel belonging. It is very important that from childhood, women should feel they are belonged, and they are not only growing up to get married and going to serve in a different family.
Yes,
Rather than they can scale or grow something meaningful, and they can create their own identity.
absolutely.
Recently, I got astonished by the movie The Great Indian Kitchen, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Amazing movie. In the end, the one thing I really liked was she'll be back to the home, and his brother will come and ask for a coffee or something to her sister.
yeah,
And mother will say that, hey, go, he's asking, no, go and do the coffee. And she
yeah,
will just burst out saying that, why we have to make, why he can't go to the kitchen and make for himself. You
yes,
are the one who is not teaching the men rightly how
yes,
to treat women.
absolutely.
That outburst, it's so true that today, still so much of advancement we are taking, talking modernization we are talking, still there is a huge chunk of population. There is a societal fabric which
Yeah.
states that women have to do certain kind of jobs. Even you're working, even you're doing anything, there are
Yeah.
certain works which has to be done by the women. If you
Yeah.
are compromising on that and overstepping on any of other responsibilities, you will be seen as a person who are selfish. And if
Yes.
a guy is not able to come home in time, they're coming late or not able to spend time with child, it will be
Yeah.
given a justification that guy is sacrificing his personal space and working for the home's financial condition, and
Yeah.
he will be seen as a sacrifice. For women, it will be seen as a selfishness. Still,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, a large societal fabric is there, and I'm sure that more and more women like you are coming out and expressing their thoughts and keep inspiring and make this effect multiplier and make a lot of women to become like you. I'm
Yeah.
sure there will be one point of time where it will be uh, there will be a history like people used to, like how we are studying like sati and other things as a history. People
Yeah.
will study this also, like once for diversity people were fighting, so that will also should become a norm. I'm sure that dream and the vision will come true always. Thank you,
Yeah.
Niranthara, for
Thank you.
sharing that inspiring thought. I'm sure that not only for the girls who is watching this, I'm sure that any father, maybe like new father or anybody, as you rightly said, that father perspective has to change. It's maybe a girl or boy. First, you need to make them understand everybody's equal and they have the rights to pursue their passion. And it's
Absolutely.
really a nice thing, Niranthara.
Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to ask from you is, you were working as an intern in UK, right?
Yeah.
And now you came back and working in an Indian company, or
Yeah.
leading an Indian company. So
Yeah.
what are the few drastic cultural changes? Because even from one company to another company, you will see a lot of cultural changes. I have gone through that, in my journey, that every company, when I change, there'll be huge cultural difference or a
Yeah.
way of doing things. And you have totally like worked in a foreign company and then to an Indian company. So what
Yeah.
are the cultural differences you have seen, Narendra?
So I think like you said, it's not just from country to country, but even industry to industry, the work cultures are completely different. I would say, in the when I worked as an intern in the UK, the experience was completely different, and then when I moved to investment banking in India, I would say was a smooth transition, because the investment banking industry is far more advanced in terms of work culture as opposed to more traditional industries. And then I moved into a company in a senior position, which was a far more traditional company. But I would actually not say that the work culture abroad and here is so different. I would say that the issues are the same, but the extent of the issues are what is different. Perhaps companies abroad have already started dealing with some of the issues, or adjusting their work culture a little bit faster than we have. But I would say the larger issues remain the same. For example, some of the issues that I'd like to highlight are: globally, 2.7 billion women are legally restricted from having the same choice as men in terms of jobs. And this is not just in India, this is globally. And out of 189 economies that was assessed in 2018, 104 economies still have laws that prevent women from having specific jobs. They are not allowed access to those specific jobs. 59 economies have no laws against sexual harassment in the workplace. Uh, Additionally, 18 economies, husbands can legally prevent their wives from working. So I think, globally there are these issues, and it's not just in India. I mean, each country or each industry is dealing with it at a different level. But these issues are prevalent regardless of where you live in the world. I thought I would make sense of this in of these statistics in terms of my own career. So I'm going to start by saying that I believe in, as I was mentioning earlier, I believe in creating a sense of belonging for women within an organization. And a lot of this relies on creating equal policies, and there are certain policies that I have in mind. So, for example, the gender disparity in the investment banking industry, where I started my career, is an industry uh, in which has an immense amount of gender disparity. You would not imagine, because there are so many female investment bankers, but the investment banking industry is an industry where women are accepted by their colleagues and rewarded when they behave more like their male counterparts. One example was rather stark. Was when a senior employee would sacrifice their maternity leave and return to work after difficult pregnancies before the government approved 6 months paid maternity leave to stay on par with men. Um, while this is medically unadvisable, it also prevents women from being able to respect their bodies that function absolutely differently than male bodies do. Working in a professional environment made me realize the paradox that is maternity leave, a policy that defines a lot of women's careers, their relationship with their employers, and with their workplace. While the Indian government increased paid maternity leave to 6 months, one of the very few countries in the world with 6 months paid leave, companies have now become hesitant to employ young, married, and highly capable women, which is probably what the government never expected when they came out with such a policy. A lot of the time, the first question in job interviews is, "Are you married, and for how long?" And this is having been in that position, it's definitely a stark difference. If you ask me a difference from my experience abroad to here, abroad it would be considered very wrong to be asked, "Are you married? For how long? Do you have a child?" Because these are personal questions. But in India, it is a mandatory question asked to women in all job interviews, and this is a change that I have particularly made in our HR department at work. It's none of our business as long as the woman is capable. We trust in her capabilities more than anything else. Women who want to pursue their careers in male dominated industries are very aware of the stigma of maternity leave. Especially in a country like India with immense pressure to have children, the stigma of maternity leave clouds professional judgment for both the employer and the employee. This, of course, is a prospect that women constantly fear. I was reading a PwC survey which said that 48% of new mothers are said to be overlooked for advancement because they have children. And 42% said that they were nervous about having children because of what it would do to their careers. Yeah, in a lot of countries with greater gender equality in the workplace, there is a common thread, and this is paternity leave, which is rarely ever addressed in India. In many ways, gender equality in the workplace starts with paternity leave. While increasing paid maternity leave is a great initiative, I would really appreciate the government for making this change of increasing the paid maternity leave to 6 months. It's not the solution to gender equality. A study in Sweden showed that each additional month of paternal leave taken by a father increases the mother's earnings by approximately 7%. And this is not to say that more for one gender is less for the other, but this is to create a level playing platform where women are equally approached and appreciated for each job as much as a man is. And also, mothers are more likely to return to their employers when these policies are more equitable and where they feel more respected. So yeah, to answer your question in a long way, I think this is a policy that I would say, defines a lot of women's careers and in their workplace and their relationship with their employers.
Great, Niranthara. I'm super amazed and inspired because of the fact you all your answers don't have just a statistics or the fact. Also,
Yeah,
you provide solution or you try to find a solution for
yeah,
that whatever you're doing. That is something I like about this episode personally.
uh,
I should say. And
thanks.
your thought on this personal questions asked on interview or women judged basis on the new maternity policy is very valid because
Yeah,
obviously I faced the same thing. I switched my job when I was 3 or 4 months married.
yeah,
Then the question was like, when are you going to? It went to a date like when you plan to go for family way.
yeah, exactly.
So then I was not prepared. Then I just maybe I didn't even think about that to be honest. So
Yeah,
I was like maybe like 2 years or so. I'm not sure. Then maybe you may think like that. You are the only daughter. You're saying your husband is also a only son. Own
yeah,
parents will force you. I was
yeah,
like, is it this interview or like what
yeah.
what
It's
they're
very
expecting?
personal. Yeah,
Horrible. And to be honest, I never thought about all these things.
yeah,
So, as you rightly said, no, instead of judging somebody on their capability, knowing on their, maternity status or the marital status is
yeah,
something which decides a person's positioning is sad and
yeah.
but reality. But I'm very happy that you are bringing in such policies in your own organization and sure that will become a case study for many organizations to come.
I
Interesting,
really
Niranjan.
hope so. Thank you.
All
Thank
the best and please amplify the message everywhere so
you.
that the organization will feel like adapting that policy. It's always a peer pressure, right? The more
Yes.
you will feel like adapting. So thank you for that, Niranthara. So before wrapping up this session, couple of
Yeah.
rapid fire or a short questions I'll ask you.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
coming to the last section, my first question will be like you talk about a lot of because you're doing doing spark in terms of creating some social impact. So there
Yeah.
are a lot of issues you yourself spoke about, right?
Yeah.
Women, climate, so many things you're
Yeah.
talking about across under the sun. Lot of issues you are trying to address. So one social cause which you will give priority or which will impact more according to you is what?
So I think it's not definitely not a secret. I think women's equality in the workplace is definitely on the top of the list for me.
Happy to know that.
Personally, yeah, I think personally for me, being one of two senior management in our own company, and finding so many companies where there is no female senior management at all. I think. Women's equality in the workplace and creating an environment where women, regardless of their personal choices, find it as easy to move ahead in their careers, I think is largely important to me. And I'm very passionate about and driven to create an environment, especially within our company. I think everything starts with us and ourselves. So I think to create a company where there is a more equitable environment, I think is on the top of my list.
Interesting, Narendra. Okay, I'm busy, you're busy, and everybody is busy today, and
Yeah,
all of us are struggling for work-life balance. So
yeah.
the one hobby you developed for yourself, which is helping you to keep the work-life balance, is what?
So I think work-life balance is very important. I think especially in India, you see people leaving the workplace at 9 p.m. and 8 p.m. I think the regular 8 p.m. is very common. But I think it takes away from having a work-life balance. And if you're not happy with your life at home, it's very hard for you to stay motivated the next morning. So it's very important for me personally to have a balance. So I think tennis for me from a very young age has been a constant. So I
Wow.
started playing tennis when I was 5 years old. So I've been playing tennis ever since then, and it has never stopped. Whenever I have a tough day or a tiring day, I always am itching to be on the tennis court. So it's one place where I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about work related issues. It's a complete, cleanse for me. So very often I find myself on the tennis court, especially after a work day.
Interesting. Yeah, you have a lot of great things in life, Narendra. So, okay, we spoke about hobbies, so let's talk about habit.
Yeah.
So, one habit you developed for long, which is helping you to keep you every day motivated. What would be that?
So I think, this is twofold for me. I think, uh, more than a single particular habit, I think a routine, a daily routine, waking up at a certain time every morning, eating the breakfast that, pushes me in terms of energy, working out every single day. All of these things are habits that I've built from my childhood that have kept me motivated in the workplace as well. And I think for me, having my parents drilled it into me as a child, that routine was everything. Even on days where the teenager who wanted to sleep in until 10 o'clock, 10:30, all these things. I think those were the days where my parents were like, routine is everything. So I think I've really, as I've become older, and I've focused on maintaining that routine to such a great extent that it really keeps me balanced. And I would say yoga is something else that I've been practicing that has helped me stay motivated. Meditation and the yoga, pranayama, these things have really centered me, and is a habit that I hope to pursue for a much longer period of time, because I find a great amount of peace in that practice as well.
Great, Narendra. Actually, those who are watching this episode, they will. It is a reinforcement that self-care is very
Yes.
important. Until you are happy, you cannot make anybody happy, or you cannot do any progress, and your
Yeah.
success will not be consistent until you take care of yourself. So it has to be imbibed as a habit, and it cannot be a one-time factor.
Yeah.
So very. I would say this. I learned personally a lot from this episode, Narendra, because everybody talks about issues, as I already said. Very few will think about solution, and
Yeah.
many will be very skewed towards one direction, but very less or very few will be balanced, and
Yeah.
very few will be taking care of themselves as well as business, family, as well as the employees, everybody. So you do it all in a perfect shape. May
Oh,
God.
yeah, very far from perfect.
No,
But
it's actually
thank
all
you.
of us are not perfect, but you're closer to perfect, I would
Oh,
call. And I'm pleased maintain that and keep inspiring many people. Niranthara, thank you once again for coming to this
thank,
show.
thank you.
Those who watching this episode on YouTube, you can also watch this episode in all the podcast streaming platform. Before I meet you all with one another exciting episode, with one another great a leader like Niranthara, this is Scindia Balasingh signing off. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.